Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting question because I focus on the grocery store point first. I think there's a few things to say there. One, I think the story of the Palisades food desert is a story of kind of everything that's gone wrong in Ward 3. There were opportunities for this not to happen, but there were those in the community that were afraid of change and afraid of densification, more housing. And the result was that there's no grocery store there because it wasn't sustainable for them economically, et cetera. And so that is I think, is a signal for why we need density, we need walkability. That's going to sustain some of these amenities that are important to all of us. I think the other point is that now we have all these grocery stores on Wisconsin, but a lot of them are extremely expensive, right? These are not grocery stores for people living on a fixed income who bought their apartment 20 years ago to retire in, and now it's escalated and there's inflation. It's difficult. And so that's a huge thing. And then the third part of that is transit. Can you get from where you are to those grocery stores and get back? So for where I live, there's no metro. How do you get to Wisconsin? It's not that far away if you drive, but it's quite far if you're walking. It's a hill. And the bus doesn't come. So that is a huge problem. And, my building, we have a grocery store that serves the 800 residents, and it's a huge lifeline for folks. So I do see the value of that. I think the other point about food security is just the broader economic point. This is the most expensive housing in the country is the District of Columbia. And so when you have to deal with that, everything else becomes harder. And so that is why we have to be aggressive about housing. But there's also the emotional component. When you lose a spouse, when you're alone, when you're isolated, it becomes hard to cook a meal. It becomes hard to eat that meal. And so that is why the things we were talking about before about isolation, dealing with isolation is how you deal with food insecurity for many seniors, right? Connecting them to those programs. How do you do that? Connecting them to social interaction, to other people, getting them out of their apartment. Thank you so much.